You're on.
Okay.
Okay. Tom, you want me or you?
I can. I can share. Good evening, everyone. As you may know, one of the components of our energy performance contract was to replace the old and inefficient boilers, commercial boilers that we have in our respective buildings. And through the energy performance contract project, we've been able to do that. And we now have high efficiency Patterson-Kelly commercial boilers, and they are wonderful, except after installation, we started experiencing some issues with them, and initially thought that it might have just been a defective pump in one of our buildings. That pump was replaced immediately, and then we experienced the same issue shortly thereafter. So it was very clear that it was more than just the pump. It required further investigation, and what ultimately happened was that the water, it's a closed loop system, and the water inside the system was tested, and the results came back that we have a fairly high level of magnetite in our systems, which is really just a byproduct of those boilers over time. Anyway, the magnetite, which, as you know, is a mineral, and it's often referred to as black iron oxide, it adheres to things. And one of the things that it's highly attracted to are the propeller blades in our pumps. So they're overwhelmed and they don't function properly, and therefore we have failures. So tonight we are seeking approval for the use of additional funding from our repair reserve so that we can actually drain the entire systems in all of our buildings, treat the water, replace it, and monitor it from this point on. So, and in doing so, we feel that we should have no more problems with our new boilers. And it's as simple as that. We're looking for $13,400. That's the quote that we received for a company, same company that tested the water to come in, drain it, replace it, treat it, and that should limit any concerns that we have with those systems in the future. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions.
So when they installed those new boilers, they didn't flush the whole system and put new water in the whole system? They still use that same water from years and years ago?
Yes, they did, Darren. Yes, they did.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
So Tom, just to clarify, we're if going to have a resolution during the regular board meeting to take money out of our repair reserve, which we established a couple of years ago, which can only be used for repairs. So it's money we have in the bank. We just need voter approval to, or we have to vote on it to send it out. And this is part of it. We have to have a public hearing to get it done. Right?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
exactly right.
So this is just a board approval,
Right.
With a public hearing. And normally we would do this, if it's part of a project, which it kind of is, the energy performance project, you do it as a change order or something like that. But because we had the one lump sum contract, the way the EPC worked, and it's not part of the other regular project, so that's why there's no funding available in the EPC to cover this. And it's not part of the other project, so we can't do it as a change order on the other capital project.
Well, I will tell you though that those new systems, they are running quite efficiently. They maintain a 2 to 4 degree variance in the temperatures of our rooms. And as you know, you've approved some additional work earlier on in a change order where even our univents are being upgraded. So the system ultimately is going to be, highly efficient, and we see it already. I think in years past, like you've probably been aware that in some parts of the building it would be quite cold, whereas other parts of the building were terribly warm. So we experienced a little bit of that this year, but that was more just trying to get the controls in order and get them all regulated, and they seem to be working very, very well at this point.
So really the next steps is for this to be on a resolution, and we'll pass it in the regular board meeting to be on ballot.
It's
No,
not,
this
it won't go on a ballot. It's just the repair reserve is just a board in and out approval.
Okay.
And it's actually on tonight's agenda. That was my fault. We had this all set up and I was thinking we were all set, but then it didn't go on the agenda. So it's an addendum tonight, the resolution that was published. It was all published on our website and in the paper and all that.
So so Tom's explained it, and that's all we really have for this 5:15 meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
There's I guess the public could comment or ask questions if they wanted to.
You can do that in the chat if you're for the public attendees.
Mr. Gao, I don't believe they can chat. They can do the Q&A.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Thank you.
What do we do next?
Wait for 5:30 to start the budget hearing.
I can actually pause recording if you think that would be appropriate. I don't know what the protocol is.
Well, I think it should be stopped before we start the next one because they are separate.
All right, so I'm going to pause recording right now. You guys aren't going anywhere. We're recording again.
All right, this is the budget hearing for the Oneonta City School District, May 27th, 5:30, and we are reviewing the budget for the 2020-2021 school year.
I would like to share my screen, and I just have a short PowerPoint to go through. Maybe. Did that work? Can you see it? Okay. So we've gone through a lot of the detailed financial information. A lot of that it's all on the website. And so I thought tonight we could just summarize and just go through a little bit of the process, and then direct you to where you can find the very detailed information. So and the postcard will go out, the school postcard will go out after the budget hearing, so that should be mailed within the next day or two. The budget vote is by absentee ballot, and that will be on Tuesday, June 9th throughout the state. Okay. Let's see. I don't know what's going on here. It's not, I'm sorry. Hold on, it's not working. Oh, here we go. Okay. So to start with the vision statement, and this is why we're here. This is what we do. We will instill all the students with the knowledge, skills, and values to become productive participants in a changing world, and we've really seen the changing world part of that recently. A caring staff will encourage students to accept personal responsibility, undertake civic participation, and prepare for future careers and develop a lifelong love of learning. And so we're doing that in a variety of ways now, but that is still our vision. And some of the goals that we have with the proposed spending plan is it's about the educational opportunities. We want to preserve them and maintain them for all the students while being mindful of the current state of events and the economy. We want to we have to meet the state mandates, not that we always want to, but we would like to do that without compromising the quality of our student programs. And we also want to be cognizant of the tax burden, and so to stabilize the tax levy increase at the lowest percent possible based on and I have that bold, most current state aid projections, and we've talked about that's really not stable, the state aid projections. So what we're presenting to you is based on what we know right now, and that's all we can do. So what are we deciding on June 9th? The adoption of the school district budget plan and a purchase of 2 66 passenger buses, which is a separate resolution this year. A capital project to address some minor things that we really need to take care of and we've been saving for. So that would be the storage tank removals and the parking lots. And I think, everybody's heard about those. And then the election of 2 members to the Board of Education for 3-year terms. And running for those seats are Amy Burnsworth and Colleen Cashman. And there was there were some notes in the newsletter for people. So the voting procedure is very different for all of us this year, and we're doing the best that we can in the very short time that we had to prepare for this. The absentee ballots have been mailed out, so if you haven't received it and you believe you're a registered voter in our district, then please contact the district clerk, Reggie McGinnis, and she will provide a ballot to you after confirming that you're a registered voter. Ballots can be returned in the postage paid envelope that came with your ballot packet. Or we do have a secure box outside of the front of the building at Center Street on the gym end of the building. There is a box and it's between 8 and 3. You can drop that off. So the box is actually outside of the building and then somebody is monitoring it from inside the building through the glass doors. So the box is always being watched. But you can drop it there if you prefer. The ballots must be received by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 9th in order to be included in the vote count. So if you think you're cutting it close or you're not sure about the post office getting it here in time, then you may want to drop it off. So this is just sort of a snapshot of where we are, so you can see our spending plan last year, the amount of the spending plan, and this year, and you'll notice that that has gone down by about $175,000. And then there's always questions, well, if it's down, why are my taxes going up? And so this is just sort of a snapshot so you can sort of see where we lost some of those revenues. So then we have to make them up in other places. So we had a fairly significant loss in state aid, and that had a lot to do with our debt service. So in our budget, our debt service is down, so is our state aid. And also the foundation aid that we really use to help us cover our increase year to year in our spending plan was flat. And then also there's less fund balance against the budget this year, and fund balance is not, it's not a revenue source, so we don't want to keep jacking that up and using it as a revenue source, but we do plug in what we have so that we can continue with our spending plan in the absence of other revenues. Last year it was more, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that we had the buses embedded right in our budget plan last year and the year before. So in prior years, we've purchased the buses through our regular expenditure plan. This year we pulled them out and we will borrow for them to free up some of that money. So I just kind of went through this so you could see the appropriated use of fund balance was $1,150,000 last year, and then the outright purchase of buses. And this year we're proposing $1 million, which is still a pretty significant amount. So some of the highlights of the general support categories or the non-direct instruction. Last year in our plan, we had an assistant superintendent and a superintendent, and as we all know, Mr. Brindley kind of took over all of that. Unfilled personnel secretary position. We have a reduction of a few custodial positions. One of them is it's a vacancy now, and then unfortunately a couple will probably be layoffs. We do have some anticipated utility savings, which we talked a little bit about just in our last portion of the meeting, and a significant decrease in equipment purchases. So hopefully everything will remain intact. The highlights of instruction, we are reducing a few through attrition, and that's retirements and vacancies. And we would like to maintain the program offerings and well-rounded educational experience that we currently offer. Our plan does maintain the current class sizes. And we're looking to add actually one elementary section to maintain those class sizes. And that elementary section, I just wanted to highlight this so it doesn't get confusing, but we are planning to use grant funding for that extra section. So, you know, what the public will see is that we have an extra section, but it's funded out of a grant, not out of this budget. And that's a class size reduction, Title II grant. Transportation, we have some pretty significant changes coming down the line here, and that's about $1.5 million of our budget. It's a very important part of our budget to get our students here safely. And as I said before, the bus purchases have been removed and they will appear as a separate proposition on the budget. So we still need to purchase buses. Our buses are, you know, in excess of 10 years old and high miles. So we do need to, they have, actually most of the problem with them, I think, is the rust from New York State roads. But and we have entered into a 5-year contract with Durham School Services. We did a pretty extensive, detailed bidding process, and we chose Durham. And I think that, you know, they have a very good reputation. They're already doing a lot of really good things working with us. And so we think that will really work out well, we're hoping. So the budget spending plan, just so you can kind of visualize it, that's the administrative portion, about $3.3 million. And that is, as it should be, the smallest portion of our budget. And then the program portion is over 31 million. And that's for instruction. And then the capital portion includes things like our buildings and grounds and our debt service. So there's kind of a breakout of, so you can see where the money's being spent. And then some miscellaneous notes. Our tax increase is $492,000. That's 2.28%, and that is the tax cap. And that's right around where we have been with our tax increases. And salary and benefits, just to make a note of that, is approximately 70% of our budget. So that's mostly what we spend our money on, is actual people. And We will, as I said in the beginning, we're using the information that we currently have right now. We need to keep revisiting our budget as we learn more of what happens. We've talked about the state look back periods, and actually I'm shocked that we haven't heard anything by now. I thought that by May 15th we would know something about the first look back period that ended on April 30th, or yes. And then the next look back period ends June 30th. I did try to find some information today, and I found an article, but it says that, you know, we have no information basically, but they're still looking, it's still the 20% number that is being thrown around there in the absence of any federal assistance or restoration. So, I mean, I don't want to know that they're taking money away, but I hope that we do know something soon about what they're doing. Also, if people would like more very detailed information, that's on our website. And just to go through some of the propositions, and then we'll go through what's on the website. The 266 passenger buses, which includes one with a wheelchair station, cost to be bonded over 5 years, and that cost would start in the 21-22 budget. So we would borrow in this current budget, but then our first payment would be due the year later. And we get approximately 60% state aid for transportation purchases. And the tank removals and parking lot are the capital project that's on there. That would be at no additional cost to taxpayers, which is why we're asking for it as a proposition. We were going to put it through the repair reserve, but then we wouldn't get the aid on it, and these projects could be aidable. So that's why we would like to do it as a capital project in order to get the state aid, so it's minimal to the district. On our website, there's a bright orange banner, and you can just click on that to be redirected to the budget information. And there is a lot of information there. There's a complete budget booklet, which is very lengthy, and everything that's in there is listed right there. We did have a budget newsletter sent out, and it's normally, you know, folded and there's pictures in there. But this year, because it was so rushed at the end, we all use the same print shop. They had recommended that we just do the 2-page with just the information, just what you need in there. So that's the superintendent's message, just what you need in there. But you should have received that, and it's also on our website. The budget proposal appropriations, if you see that on there, that's about 50 slides long, and that has all of our budget codes. So that one has a lot of detail if somebody would like to go through all the numbers, and it compares last year to the current year plan. And that's the same thing with the revenue, which isn't quite as lengthy because we don't have as many revenue codes as we have appropriation codes. How we calculated the property tax cap is on there. And that's a state formula. That's not something that we make up. We just plug our numbers in, and it tells us what our cap is. There's a little bit of information on what goes into a tax bill. So it's, you know, our levy, it's the equalization rate, it's the change in values in that municipality. So there's a lot that actually goes into a tax bill. So there's no way that the district really can calculate that for you or tell you what that will be year to year. And then there are various other PowerPoint presentations that provide some of the category details, some of the category changes, and the budget changes from prior years. So I think now I will stop sharing my screen, and we can open it up for if there are any questions or comments. And I do want to say that with this budget, I think it was really, it was a lot of work. It's still going to be a lot of work, but it was a really collective, collaborative effort from everybody throughout the district. So, you know, I want to thank everybody for that help, because it was a difficult year, and it's still going to be. But I feel like everybody really just pulled together to make this happen for the good of the students.
Lisa, I'd like to thank you. You know, this has been a very, very challenging budget cycle. And once again, you managed to, pull it all together and, create a real fiscally responsible budget for our taxpayers. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
I know we've had a few other people join from the public. If you wish to make a comment, there's a Q&A box down at the bottom. You can put something in there and we'll read it. Okay, we do have a comment. Good evening, board members. Having received my absentee ballot, will the district please explain how it will assess the end of year and identify student teacher needs moving into next fall? How will the district ensure students will successfully transition to the next grade? And respectfully, what is the plan for instruction and contact hours in the fall if we go remote? I suspect the district is exploring alternatives while awaiting directives from the governor. I trust there will be more than just a few Zoom meetings per week. Thank you.
Those are all excellent questions. And yeah, they're, we are truly awaiting, some degree of guidance from the state. We understand that the governor will make a decision on the status of the start of school year sometime in June. We have been advised by the state that we'll have to have a plan in place and submitted to the state at some point in July. So, even though these are great questions, we're planning for a bunch of different contingencies. One, we're planning on, a full open school year. We're planning for the contingency that we may at some point have to close again. I know there's fear of a second wave of this illness sweeping through essentially the world. So we're planning for that, and we are planning for a online format, home learning, open to the school year as well. What exactly that will look like at this point, we're not entirely sure, because we're hoping that the state will provide us with some of the guidelines and guidance that we've been asking for a long time now. As far as teacher needs and student needs, of course, this year through surveys, predominantly we were trying to establish the connectivity needs of not only our students and their families, but our teachers as well. So, and now as students register in our district, we're asking those particular questions as well, just so we can have that knowledge front loaded in the event that we have to experience this kind of home learning again in the future, which I hope we don't. This is not a good situation for anybody. And, we're hoping that we won't have to do this again, but we will, more information to come, I guess is the real answer.
Thank you, Tom. Other questions or comments?
Bonnie had to take a minute, so if you want, whenever you want me to pause this in between the board meeting, just let me know.
All right. Yeah, I think we'll adjourn the budget hearing for now and then begin the regular board meeting at 6 o'clock. So you can pause the recording. Thank you.
Okay.
You're on.
All right, we'll call to order the regular meeting for the Oneonta City School District Board of Education for May 27th, 2020. Can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Grau?
Here.
Mrs. Burnsworth?
Here.
Mr. Butterman?
Here.
Mr. Gaisford?
Here.
Mrs. Kurkowski,
Here.
Mr. Reynolds,
Here.
Mr. Beckerink.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go any further, we have two opportunities for the public to address the board in our agenda. The public may do so at the bottom using the Q&A box, and we will read your comments out loud during the appropriate time of the board. There'll be one coming up here shortly, and then another one towards the end. Resolved to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Resolved to accept the minutes of the May 11th, 2020 Board of Education meeting as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Resolved to accept the minutes of the May 13th, 2020 Board of Education meeting as presented.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I should have asked any discussion on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. This brings us to our first opportunity to address the board. I'll wait a second or two just to see if anybody typed something. If we don't get you now, we can get you during the second. Okay, resolved that the reading of the Teaching and Administrative Personnel Memorandum 2020-09 be waived, and that the action items dated May 27th, 2020 be approved as recommended by the Superintendent of Schools.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Grau, there is a considerable amount of things happening on this personnel memorandum this evening. But first, we have several folks who are slated to receive tenure. Brandy Neeson, Flannery Foster, Kevin Doherty, Laura Wahlberg, and Dominic D'Imperio. These are folks who contribute much to this school district, so I am thrilled for them. They are great, great role models, and they do wonderful things for the children of our district. So I'm happy about that. There's also resignation. Callie Jo Sheldon, who has served as a licensed teaching assistant for years, has gone back to school and has earned a degree, and she's going to be moving on in a different capacity. So we certainly wish her well. You will also note that we have two candidates slated to be hired. We have Natalka Suvanik, who has served in our residency program here in the district and has done a wonderful job and comes highly recommended. And then we have Nicole Schlierman, who is a veteran teacher at a neighboring district, a resident of the community, and we hear nothing but wonderful things about Nicole. So we are thrilled to welcome them both ultimately to our Yellow Jacket family. And then lastly, you'll see the resignation of Mr. John Mushkare. And John has spent the last year and a half or so, 2 years, earning his administrative degree, and he has landed a building principal position at a neighboring district, and they are so lucky to have him. He's going to do wonderful things there, and I can't wait to hear about all those wonderful things, but he will be sorely missed in our district. I just wish all of these folks welcome and well in everything that they're doing.
Yeah, I would just like to add too, regarding John Muster, he's a good personal friend of mine, but I don't know if a lot of you know that when I went into teaching back in 1995, he was my cooperating teacher at Unitigo. So when I did my student teaching, he was my cooperating teacher in 1995 at Unitigo, and that was in 7th grade life science. And that summer, they lost a physics teacher or a chemistry teacher, and John took the chemistry position, and then they offered me his 7th grade life science job. So I kind of filled in John's footsteps when he went and taught chemistry in the high school at Unitego. And I taught with John down at Unitego for 12 years. I coached with him in football and baseball. We became very, very close friends. And to me, he's one of the most intelligent, smartest leaders that I've ever been around. And he will be sorely missed in the classroom, but he will go on and do great things. We're going to miss him on the football field. We're going to miss him in the physics classroom. Fortunately, my daughter is still trying to take the 5-hour driver ed course, but until the state opens back up, she's not going to be able to take that. But he teaches that 5-hour course as well. So I just wish John, he's a good personal friend of mine, and I wish him the best of luck going forward at Lawrence. And I know he's got, he'll do great things, and Lawrence is really lucky to have him, and he will be missed.
I agree and concur. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. That brings us to our capital project update.
Right now it's really just full speed ahead. Our project is unique, as you know. We have a general capital project. We have the energy performance contract. We have the Smart Schools Bond Act project. We now have some repair reserve projects, and they are all taking place all at the same time right now. So there is a lot going on, but progress is being made every day. The Masons have left our district momentarily. They have done all of the large work that they needed to do. Now, of course, you have the electricians and finished work that needs to be done. So all those projects are moving along quite well. And that's really all that I have right now. They are in full swing everywhere you look.
I stuck my my face up to the glass in the middle school science room to see the demo. So
Yeah.
it's always neat to see it wide open and then, come back when it's all put back together.
Well, that's a very exciting space, honestly. I mean, for years and years, those two science classrooms have been separated by an accordion door, the lab was shared, and to know that these folks are going to have two distinct classrooms with separate labs and a shared chemical storage area is really, really a wonderful.
Yep, it's going to be great. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, we'll move down to the next item. Resolve to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Oneonta City School District and the Oneonta Teachers Association, capturing the successor agreement to the July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2020 collective bargaining agreement. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Grau, if I could just add, this is, this agreement needs to be ratified by the members of the Oneonta Teachers Association, but it is reflective of a very compassionate and understanding group of folks who, recognize the fiscal challenges that we are facing in the district, and certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, I want to add to that my appreciation to you, but also very much to the Teachers Association, Mr. Nobling. Clearly, we've known all along, everyone in this district has our students at heart, and this agreement certainly codifies that and exemplifies that. And the fact that this bargaining took place as easily as it did, I guess, between both sides, really is a testament to the caring and the amount of care that everyone has in this district for our kids. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Very good.
Aye. Bill, I'm gonna abstain to this due to the fact that my wife's a employee of the district as a school psychologist, so I will abstain in this vote.
Thank you. Okay. Resolved that the reading of the financial memorandum 2020-09 dated May 27th, 2020 be waived, and that the financial action items be approved as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
So moved.
Discussion.
Okay, everything on the memorandum really is pretty routine. With the monthly report, the tax collector's report is there, so you can see, how the collection flowed. The property tax report card it's on our website already, and that is what we are required to submit to New York State after the board approves the budget plan. So that has some information on there. It's a little bit confusing, but it goes through also some of the fund balance information. So you can find that in the budget booklet on our website if anybody would like to look at that. The YMCA rental agreement is a continuation of the agreement that we have. The change in there is just that if they are not able to run a program in the summer, that we would waive the rent for the summer. The Bassett Hospital contract is what we have for the physicals, and they've been doing that for years. And then the Delaware County Incarcerated Youth is an agreement that we have with Delaware Academy. And that is, we have a teacher, a full-time teacher, and part of her time is spent with the incarcerated youth in the Delhi jail facility. And then part of her time is spent here with our students, the alternative high school students. And that's it.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm going to abstain based on my employment with the Y.
Thank you. Okay. Repair reserve resolution. Following the public hearing on May 27th, 2020, after at least 6 days of public notice, and considering the comments and other evidence submitted at the hearing, and having at least $250,000 in the repair reserve fund, resolved that the Board of Education expenditures from the school district's repair reserve fund to pay for the following repairs: water treatment inside closed loop of boiler systems to address magnetite in the water causing damage to new boilers at Greater Plains, Valley View, Riverside, and the middle school, high school complex. Estimated cost is $13,400. We have a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? This brings us to our second opportunity to address the board, and we have one comment from Kathy Lynch. Congratulations to John Muschamp. He will be missed by students and staff alike at OHS. I have so much respect and admiration for John as a parent of kids I have had in class, as a coach, colleague, and friend. I know that he will be a great administrator. Thank you, Kathy, and I agree. Just wait a second to see if anything else pops in. All right, let's move down to committee reports roundtable. And we'll start with Darren.
Unmute myself here. I don't have any committee reports. Again, I guess I would just like to thank Tom and Lisa for their hard work on the budget. And I know there's a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of dates to hit and everything. And it seems like they've done a great job. I mean, we seem to be in a little bit of financial difficulty right now, but I think a lot of people have stepped up. And so thank you very much for Tom and Lisa and everybody else who put in a lot of hard work on putting together this budget in a timely fashion. Also, again, I'd like to just one more time congratulate Mr. Mushtier on his new endeavor. I kind of knew this time would come when I knew he was going for his administrative degree, but I wish him the best of luck. And I probably should have also said something about Callie Jo Sheldon as well. Callie Jo was one of my students when I was a teacher at Unitigo. She was a great soccer player, an excellent athlete, and a great kid to have in class. And I know she did a great job here as an LTA, so I know she'll be sorely missed as well. So congratulations and good luck to Callie Jo as well. That's all I have.
Sue?
I don't have any committee reports. I also want to congratulate John. Kyle had him both as a teacher for physics and also as a football coach, and he was an amazing mentor for Kyle. And congratulations to all those who received tenure tonight. And thank you to everybody that did all the work on the budget. I know it's not easy, and we don't want you to know that it doesn't go unnoticed, the hard work that you've put in, and we'll have to continue to do based on what the state comes back with. That's all.
Amy?
Well, congratulations to our newly tenured teachers and our new hires. Best of luck to John and Callie Jo. And, you know, again, my appreciation for the budget, but, you know, I really want to throw out there that, you know, on top of trying to finish this school year and plan and have backup plans for not only the seniors graduating, but I know that there's a 8th grade celebration and a 5th grade celebration, and you know, I just know that everybody's working so much harder to get things done and take care of the needs of our kids, both educationally and emotionally. I know they're out there trying to connect with all of them. So my appreciation goes out to everyone in the district, and especially our teachers and LTAs. That's all I got.
Sean?
And let me unmute you there. Again, everybody's pretty much summed up what we're trying to say here tonight, but I have nothing for the committees for starters. But the budget, again, Tom, Lisa, the amount of work that goes into this and the behind the scenes, just, again, we can't say enough thank you for it. And we will prevail. We're going in the right direction. But again, thank you for all the hard work you guys really put into that. And those who are tenured tonight, congratulations. Again, it's a big milestone. The loss of John Mushtier is a gain for Lawrence Central School. The only thing I can say about John is that I never got a chance to say thank you for my son building that bridge with all the wood together, and you try to see how much weight it could hold. We sat there for hours trying to figure this out because we wanted to win. We wanted to win this thing. And but it was funny because that's how I remember John Mushtier, because I never had him, but my son did. And trust me, everybody, what they're saying tonight, it is true. John was a leader and one heck of a role model. So John, congratulations, and Lawrence, you got a good man coming. The new employees, congratulations. You're coming to one big family that we care a lot, not just for the employees but our students. And Amy, you make a great point when we talk about the seniors and the 8th graders and everybody moving up that ladder. And it still breaks my heart that I know we're doing everything we possibly can to recognize our seniors for the moment they walk out of the school district. Because this morning I was watching TV and they did the clips on the news where they were interviewing seniors who, the one comment that got me was, I didn't get to see my last day of school. It just crushed me. And I'm like, I wish we could just do something. But with the precedent times we have, we're doing everything we can to recognize you, and trust us. We would if we could. So again, I know we can go on about this all night long, but we're doing the best we possibly can for you seniors and the families too. Because it's not just the kids, it's the parents who had these kids all the way through school, the hard work, the dedication, the behind the scenes things get done to finally meet that walking across the stage. So again, that's all I really have tonight, and I'm just looking forward to where we go next with in the fall when we get to when the state ed decides to make some decision of what we're going to do with this. And I know we're going in the right direction, so I'll leave it at that.
All right, Dan?
Am I last again?
No.
All right, I'll make it shorter. I have no committee reports. I just want to make a few comments similar to what's already been said. From my perspective, with children that are in the younger grades, as opposed to the children that have gone through it, congratulations to the tenure, the new hires, and to John for his new appointment. And I was thinking about listening to Darren and Sue, John, talk about John. And I think this is another example since I've been on the board where there's been a retirement or a move on from a teacher that was really great, but it was just a little bit ahead of my girls. And so they don't get to have that teacher. But it's not necessarily a bad thing because there's some other great teachers that are coming in. And I think that we have a wonderful staff and faculty. And I think that we're a wonderful place to work, maybe comparatively speaking from other school districts. You know, you hear some others that have different difficulties with management or with teachers or tenure and budgets and things. And although we have challenges this year, we seem to be getting by it as best or maybe better than most. And that is really encouraging. And to see the tenure that we have and the new teachers coming through, I'm sure that years down the road, my comments will be like, you know, my girls had that teacher and this and that. And it's an exciting story to be a part of. That said, knowing that we have good teachers and faculty working with, I also want to express my thanks for the Teachers Association for working with us. I think we're in a unique bargaining situation in that the district has all of its cards on the table, so to speak. There's really nothing that they can't see. And their willingness to work with us in these difficult times, I think speaks to the trust and good relationships we have with our staff and our faculty across the board. And their willingness to work with us in this kind of situation, I think, speaks to that. So another area where I'm very proud of the kind of working environment that our school district has created and the kind of culture that we have. So with that, in my short bit, that's where I'll leave it. Thanks very much for everyone. And I'll mute.
Thank you, Dan. Jamie?
Okay, well, hey, I did have a committee report. We did have, hang on here. We did have finance on the 19th, and we covered a lot of those things here this evening. We focused on the budget, of course, the repair reserve public hearing that preceded this board meeting. The Center Street rental agreement was discussed, and then we had a couple of informational items that were provided by our insurance and another association. As far as the personnel piece that had already been mentioned here, you know, I guess we learned something tonight. Now we know who to blame for Darren. So, but in all seriousness, I think that's one of the testaments and, you know, in some ways, eventually legacies for folks like that is the people that they positively influenced, you know, throughout their careers, and certainly how much has been, you know, an individual that has done that at Oneonta, and I trust he will do that at Lawrence as well. So it's always a good testament to our district when we can have someone get promoted. It's always a loss, but it's also says we're doing something right as well. And certainly my hat's off to the tenured teachers as well. I know a couple of those personally, and they're great additions to our faculty and staff. And that's always good news for them. Good news for us too, that we were able to keep them and develop them and hopefully have them for their careers. So with that, nothing else on my end.
Thank you. I'll finish up. Obviously, I'll just say ditto about everything that was said about the newly tenured teachers and the new hires and John Mushtair. And my favorite John Mushtair story is everyone knows John's a pretty mild-mannered person, but he's a very loud instructor. And my daughter Maddie had a concussion from soccer her senior year. And when she finally recovered and came back, he pulled her aside and said, will loud noises bother you? Do I need to tone down how I teach? And she said, no, I think I'll be okay. And he continually checked in with her to make sure that, he was teaching, he was willing to change his teaching style to make sure that, it wouldn't bother or hurt her. So I appreciate that about him. I know there's a lot of people out there doing things for the seniors. Amy, you are definitely one of them. So, thank you and everyone else involved in the group that's trying to do everything they can do for the senior class. The signs are great. The magnet on my Jeep, thanks for throwing that as you drove by. But, everything is great. And I know, it's not what we hope, but hopefully we'll get something that we can do to recognize them in mass and have something special. But for now, what you're doing is making it special. So we appreciate all that. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn for the purposes, or to executive session for the purposes of special education and personnel.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
All right, we're adjourned.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Grace. Yeah, can you get me into the other meeting? I clicked on this email. Do I click on that?